A high-performance fighter jet traveling at combat speed is violently ripped apart. The ejection sequence alone is traumatic for the human body, and when the weapons systems officer, an American colonel, hit the ground, his ordeal was just starting. He spent the next 36 hours alone in the treacherous snowy mountains of southwestern Iran, injured and hunted. On April 5, 2026, Donald Trump halted the global news cycle with 2 words on Truth Social: "We got him." It projected absolute, clean authority. That single public post obscured a high-stakes deployment involving dozens of aircraft and a CIA-led deception campaign. The political victory was public, but the mission itself had remained perilously close to a catastrophe. 2 days earlier, an American F-15E Strike Eagle went down over Iran's Kogiluye and Boyar Ahmad province. The pilot was recovered almost immediately. That first extraction met intense Iranian fire. An A-10 Warthog providing cover took heavy damage and had to limp all the way to Kuwaiti airspace. 2 Black Hawk helicopters were also struck by small arms fire. The military had the pilot, but the weapons systems officer was still trapped. The real crisis of these 36 hours was just beginning. Iranian authorities knew exactly what was in those mountains. Within hours, local officials offered cash rewards for the airmen. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps mobilized search teams into the rugged terrain. The clock was running down. At the same time, Iran's parliament speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf took to social media to taunt the United States, asking publicly if anyone could find the American airmen. To buy the colonel time, the CIA flooded Iranian intelligence networks with a fabricated story. They planted intel claiming U.S. forces had already secured the colonel and were moving him overland for extraction. The disinformation worked. Iranian search units physically shifted their focus away from the colonel's actual location, giving the trapped airmen enough breathing room to establish overhead contact with U.S. command. A modern rescue behind enemy lines relies on hacking the enemy's decision-making loop long before the first helicopter takes off. With a window of opportunity secured, the U.S. military launched a multi-tiered package of specialized aircraft: fighter jets for top cover, MC-130J Combat Kings for command, and dozens of rescue helicopters. They didn't stage this armada from a friendly border. Under the cover of darkness, Special Operations MC-130J transport planes landed deep inside Iranian territory, near Isfahan, Iran's 4th largest city and a hub for its nuclear infrastructure, to build an improvised forward operating base. To protect this temporary airstrip and the extraction teams, MQ-9 Reapers held a lethal perimeter. Anytime Iranian military-aged males crossed a 3-kilometer threshold toward the colonel's position, the drones struck them. Ground teams moved in, Iranian troops engaged. The operation culminated in a heavy, close-quarters firefight in the mountains of Kogiluye County. They recovered the colonel alive, but as the extraction teams loaded up to leave, the desert environment turned against them. 2 of the MC-130J transport planes sank into the deep sand of the makeshift runway. They were stuck. The commanders faced an impossible choice: to prevent tens of millions of dollars in highly classified communications equipment from falling into Iranian hands, U.S. forces deliberately blew up their own aircraft. The human objective was secure, but the physical wreckage left behind in the desert tells the story of an operation that barely survived contact with reality. Iran quickly flooded the zone with images of the American wreckage, falsely claiming their air defenses had shot the planes down. On the other side, the Trump administration celebrated the bravery of the rescue teams, while cleanly omitting the loss of highly sensitive hardware, or why an F-15 was shot down in the first place. This flowchart tracks the material cost of this single mission. It starts with the loss of an $80 million Strike Eagle, spirals into a multi-squadron deployment, and ends with the intentional destruction of transport planes and Little Bird helicopters. A few days earlier, the administration told the public that Iranian air defenses were completely eliminated. Yet this graphic shows an F-15 destroyed, an A-10 severely damaged, and multiple helicopters taking fire. Zoom out from the tactical rescue, and the regional picture is equally strained. The Strait of Hormuz remains a geographic choke point, currently suffocating global shipping. This dashboard outlines the current realities of Day 37 of the war. Internet connectivity inside Iran sits at 1%. Oil has spiked to $111 a barrel. And the April 6th deadline on Iran's energy infrastructure expires tomorrow. America brought its airmen home, but as the April 6th deadline approaches, the burned remains of C-130s in the Isfahan desert and the paralyzed shipping lanes of the strait remain. Tactical success has been achieved, even as the broader conflict enters its 6th week, with no clear end in sight.